All right, what is going on YouTube? This is GoatCast Podcast for the week of January 14th. I am CW, the bald one as usual. Back again. Got my man Big Nige once again. What's going on, Big Nige?
Chilling, a little under the weather, just trying to kind of push through for the coming week. But all is well, ends well. I'm doing good, ready to get started.
It's your flu game. Okay, we got the and then we got my man King Speech, who's been joining us these last couple of nights. We appreciate you joining us again. What's going on, King Speech?
What's going on, man? How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always, always. And unfortunately tonight, we had advertised Q from Opinion Stated, and we were having some technical difficulties. He was here early, he was here ready to go, and we just couldn't get him. For some reason, it kept freezing up, and he couldn't hear us. We could hear him, and it was just some kind of type of disconnect. But we'll make that collab happen. He will be hopefully be back on our next show, and we can work out the technical kinks. So shout out to Q. We're gonna still advertise his channel in the description. So, check his channel out. Really good information. Maybe not for LeBron fans, but, that's unfortunate. But anyway, before we get to the meat and potatoes of this show, I just want to throw out a quick question. Don't have to deep dive into it, but Zion Williamson, is he done as a New Orleans Pelican? Big Nod, is he done?
Looking at that, kind of hard to tell. I mean, you got people talking about he's been on the wrong court. People talking about he's been on the food court more than on the basketball court. So, in all seriousness, I think his time in New Orleans is done. The writing's on the wall. It just, for whatever reason, injuries, bad luck, misfortune, it just didn't work. So it's time for him to move on, go somewhere else. I mean, I'm not sure what you can get for him at this point, considering he's got a very bad reputation around the league right now, being lazy, bad diet, not motivated, so how can you convince another team to take a chance on him when you're basically giving away damaged goods? So I wish him well. Hopefully they can get something for him and he can turn his career around. But yeah, I think his days in New Orleans are numbered.
How about you, King Speech? Is Zion on his way out of New Orleans?
It looks like it. I saw one thing I saw about it. That video? I mean, not video. A picture of him in a Wendy's drive-through, and they said he was supposed to. Was that real, or was that just? See, I'm the old guy here. Sometimes, they Photoshop pictures and all types of stuff and AI and all that. Was he in the Wendy's drive-through? Look, I'm a Duke fan, right? So I was and I'm also a Knicks fan. Yeah, big Duke fan. Big Duke fan.
Man.
Right? Go back to the days of Abdel Nabi.
We might kick you out of here.
Listen, I know how it goes in Carolina, man. I know how it goes in Carolina. I grew up out there. But we go back to the days of Abdel Nabi and Grant Hill and Christian Laettner. And even when I said I think I caught a little bit of Danny Ferry's tenure there. But again, the whole tank for Zion and Ja Morant and RJ Barrett. We got RJ Barrett. The ironic part is the way RJ is playing this year. He's looking like the best player in that class right about now for the long term.
Doing better.
Playing pretty good since going to Toronto. I believed in him. I just felt we had too many left-handed slashes, and it wasn't going to work chemistry-wise. So he's free out in Toronto. Didn't they just have a big upset win? Who they just beat? They just beat
I was just looking at it.
They beat a big team.
They beat the Warriors.
They beat the Warriors, but it was somebody else. But anyway. No, Zion, I think he's using a power move. I think he's using this I think he's doing what Harden did the last two stints Harden did. Got a little, but this time just think he don't love New Orleans, just too much bad luck with the injuries for those guys. It really is a shame. because they have, and the crazy part is they still have a lot of in terms of draft capital, right? They get the Lakers pick this year, but you never know. You never know what that team could actually be because they're not healthy. There was one point where they were the 2 seed a couple of years ago, right? When they were fighting Memphis for the 2 seed, and just the injuries just keep, between Brandon Ingram, between CJ McCollum, they get DeJounte Murray. He's looking like a great steal, even though Tyson Daniels is like the defensive player of the year candidate. Looked like a great trade for both teams. He gets injured on opening night. The injuries, I don't know what it is, and then New Orleans is not the most exciting market. I think Zion is probably looking at that, but don't hurt your brand and look like a quitter before you can get to it. Before you can actually get to a next spot, because to be truthful, you took the big contract to stay. That makes you not that easy to trade, especially if you're lowering your own value by not going out there playing hard. So I think it's but it's going to be hard to trade them, and I don't think New Orleans is going to give them away. But
nah, they definitely can't. They shouldn't do that.
No, they shouldn't at all.
But I guess my prediction was a year late, but I said this last year. I think around this time when we did our trade deadline talk, I said Zion was going to get traded. And then he started playing, he started doing okay, and we're right back to that same deal. So yeah, Zion's gone. He's shown them that he doesn't care. Showing up late for a flight on a game day is just irresponsible. So yeah, Zion's days at the Pelicans over. We will probably, because we're going to talk about this later, but we're getting close to the middle of the season. We're going to do our midseason tier list at some point here soon in the next few weeks. But with that said, we got the trade deadline coming up too. So we're going to be discussing that, and we're going to be seeing where some of these guys might be on the move to, and hopefully, some teams make the right move. But with that said, we're going to talk about a team that's been, just taking the NBA by storm in the 2024-2025 season. They're playing right now. I don't know the score, but I hope they're winning. Anyway, the Cleveland Cavaliers are right now sitting at 33-5. We'll see how that fares tonight. But with this record, they're looking like they could sneak in and be that third 70-win team. We know Mike and those 72-10 Bulls did it back in 96. 2016, 20 years later, we saw the Golden State Warriors win 73 games, only lose 9. The Cleveland Cavaliers are currently 33-5, so they're definitely on the right path. But we're going to ask you guys: do you think this 2025 Cleveland Cavalier team can get to 70 wins? Big Dodge, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this. So I'm gonna pass it to you.
Well, my answer to this, I believe they definitely could be a 70-win team. Although I'm kind of leaning on why would Cleveland want to go and try to push for 70 wins, right? So when we talk about the 2016 Warriors and that they pushed and got that 73-9 record, they were kind of sluggish in the playoffs. They got to the finals, but with injuries, all those minutes they had to play down the stretch to secure some of those fourth quarter turnarounds during the regular season, a tough postseason run. Then you go in Cleveland against Cleveland, and then you guys are banged up. Injuries happen all the time. And now instead of celebrating the championship, you lose. You have the best record of all time. Then you lose when they come back 3-1. I know other things played a part, suspensions and et cetera, but they still didn't capture the ultimate goal. And if I'm Cleveland, I believe they can definitely get, somewhere in the mid 60s, low 60s. I think that's way doable for them. They're really talented, young, and they play with a lot of creativity and just freedom. But could they, if they really wanted to? I definitely think they could get 70 wins this season just by how they're playing during the regular season. Looking at their upcoming schedule, I mean, they have a couple tough ones. You know, they got the Thunder on Thursday. That's going to be an interesting one. Back in OKC, kind of a rematch game from last week, where, as I predicted, the Cleveland Cavaliers did win that game, and it was on their home floor as well. So we'll see if they can take care of business on the road against OKC, and then the Timberwolves, and et cetera, et cetera. But you know, they can definitely beat a lot of these teams coming up on their schedule, like the Rockets, Sixers, Suns. Rockets are going to be a tough game, obviously, but to make a long story short, I think they can win 70 games. I don't think they will, because I don't think they will prioritize it, because they want to just lock up the first seed and take care of business in the postseason.
I think so too. But what do you think, King Speech? Can the Cleveland Cavaliers reach that 70 mark this season?
Yeah, they very much can. And I'm looking at them play tonight. I'm actually watching the game. They just went up 11. Jared Allen hit a 3-point play. And as what I'm noticing is, and what I felt at the beginning of the season, I'll never forget looking at the opening night. You know, the prognosticators, they asked Charles Barkley, the Inside the NBA had the game, and they asked who was going to be that other team, who that third team that chose the Celtics. And Cleveland was mentioned, and Charles kind of chuckled, like they didn't really have respect from last year. And I just thought, I mean, we're not analyzing the game if you don't see how good this roster is. This roster has no weakness. The starting lineup, the starting five has no weakness. Interchangeable big men, interchangeable 2-point guards. Donovan Mitchell can play the slide over to the one. Garland, is just a smooth playmaker. Yeah, they just got a flagrant foul. So, look like Cleveland's going to win this one tonight. Indiana's playing well. Indiana's playing very well without Halliburton, but that just shows you how smooth Cleveland is running their offense for them to be up 11. Yeah, I mean, and then they go to the bench, there's no real drop off. So that's what you kind of see with OKC. You really see well-built teams, and it's the teams that developed over a few years. And so I guess it depends on the coaching and the leadership. Will they go for it? I mean, you know, it's just a matter of winning games, and you know, it's just a matter of figuring a way. Here's the thing: I think even if they decided to sit their starters for the last week of the season, they might still get it regardless. I mean, there's not much drop off. I mean, Caris LeVert is the sixth man. He's somebody I like a lot. It's ironic. You know, this team was kind of set up from a super team. The Brooklyn Nets trading that young core for James Harden, gave them a Jared Allen, gave them a Caris LeVert, gave them a couple of draft picks draft picks as well, and they've built with that. So in addition to trading for Spider, in addition to drafting Darius Garland with their own pick, the post LeBron era, they've built something real in Cleveland. So props to them.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything what everybody said. I think that they can, but will they? And pretty much Big Nine said it. Would they prioritize? Do they care about that milestone, or do they care about the postseason and what they can do there? I think Kenny Atkinson and that group, they want to show that they can go far in the playoffs. They want to show that they are the real deal and that this isn't just some flash in the pan, you know, series or season so far. So I think they're going to they'll prioritize getting themselves into that number one spot, but I don't think they care about the 70 wins. It would be a great novelty to join the likes of Michael Jordan and Steph Curry, that Dynasty Warriors, that Dynasty Bulls. You could say, hey, we're here, we're up there with them. But in the end, that doesn't win you a championship. You got to think about that. So yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they can do it. You know, the East isn't the toughest division or conference this season, and even the West ain't that tough this year. So I think Cleveland is poised to be very, very good and have a very great record, but I just don't think they'll go for 70. I think they'll just, because really in reality they can only lose 7 more games. And I think that, like I said, I think it's doable, but the amount of effort they're going to have to give on a nightly basis is just more than they probably want to give. They want everybody healthy. If they're not healthy, they're still good. Like you said, they're a deep team, but you want all that depth and all those players there for the postseason. So with that said, Cleveland looking good. I guess they're up against the Pacers who beat them the other night, and so they're trying to get the revenge on them and keep this, start another 10-run spree if they can do that. But just so we're not, we're going to kind of not go too long tonight because my man Big Naj and I, we will be traveling tomorrow to Orlando for a podcast expo because we want to try to get better at doing this. We want to, really engage and really do this right. So we're going there to to learn some things and do some things. So we're not going to be on too long. So I found 10 hot takes that they're not too spicy. I looked through them; they're not too spicy. But we're going to talk about each of them. I have 10 of them. They come from interbasket.net. That's my first time hearing about that group, but they're like I said, they're not too spicy. Most of them we probably have thought about throughout the season, but I'll get you guys' thoughts. And we're going to bring back something we haven't done in a long time on this channel, Goated or Bloated. So if you don't know what that means, if it's goated, it means it's a sure thing. If you agree with it 100%, it's goated. If it's bloated, you got gas, you got to release that gas. So you're gassing something up that's not, that's not right. So if it's something that you think is bloated, it's not, that's not true. There's no truth to it, then put it as a bloated. So I'm gonna start with number 10. Like I said, we don't have to go long on any of them, but this one is a pretty, this ain't spicy at all to me, but number 10 is the Boston Celtics will win back-to-back championships. And I'll start with King's speech on this one. Will Boston go back-to-back this season?
I'll say bloated. Because if you saw me on MJFB on Sunday, I said it's going to be about at least a 10-year period from the last repeat champions, and you would have to go back to Golden State, right? Golden State in Golden State in 17 and 18, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about at least 5 years. So I actually predicted this coming into this decade. I said we have entered an era of parity. So look, Boston is an excellent team. Again, I do feel like they do have about 2 or 3 serious contenders in the East. Coming up in a playoff experience. Cleveland, I actually thought would take them to 7 had they not lost Spider and Jared Allen. And I think they, home court advantage with Cleveland. I think Cleveland would beat them in a potential conference finals if the standard stayed if they did that. But actually, and this might be my blue and orange colored glasses. But if the Knicks get back healthy, that's a team that they do not want to see. The Knicks travel well, will put a substantial number of fans in, and I'm sure Boston will put a substantial number of fans in MSG. But I think, and again, this is not the time, right, with the Knicks on that little 2-5 swoon. But I think if the Knicks get healthy, so I just think this is an era of parity where no team is head and shoulders above the other. So yeah, I don't see Boston repeating this year.
Okay. Big Nige, will Boston repeat as champions?
I mean, I got to give them their respect. I do not see any reason to not have Boston repeating, assuming health. They are the 2 seeds, so I think their road will be a little bit tougher. Right now they've matched up. If the playoffs started today, it'd be a Miami matchup in the first round. Obviously with the Jimmy Butler turmoil, not expecting too much from Miami, although again, very well coached. I'm sure they would handle the Heat in great fashion. But then they're going to have to play potentially the Knicks or the Bucks in the second round, and that to me is going to be a harder road than going up against, when how they kind of ran through the East last year, which was ravaged by injuries. Now they're going to get tested earlier on, in the second round with that Knicks or Bucks matchup. I still like the Celtics in those matchups as well. Then they, of course, would probably end up playing Cleveland in the conference finals, where Cleveland will have home court instead of Boston. So I still don't see anybody that's going to beat them. I think their road will be a little bit tougher, especially if they do match up with Cleveland, and it is going to be Cleveland having home court. That'll be a little bit troublesome for them, and Cleveland has improved. But no, I don't think – I think the Celtics will repeat this year because I don't see anything from anybody else to prove me otherwise.
Okay. I think this. If the Boston Celtics repeat, the NBA has to look at themselves on why, because they put the ultimate chip on their shoulders by that whole Olympic thing. They bypassed Jaylen Brown. They benched Jason Tatum. And I'm sure that hurt those guys because they were champions and they were playing well. So far this season, they are champions. They're playing well. There's no championship hangover. They're still beating teams who they should beat. They're having a little. They're not putting their feet on the gas all the time. They're kind of pacing themselves. They know it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So I think they will, because, like McKnight said, I think their competition isn't that great. If you look at last season, the games they lost, a lot of times it was just because they just were sleepwalking. It wasn't because the team truly, in my opinion, beat them. It was because they beat themselves. And I'll even go as far as saying that loss to Dallas, they did that on purpose so they can go back home and win the championship. But either way, I think they have everything to repeat because they have their same starters, awesome starters. They have guys, at least 5 guys that can be all-stars for the most part. Maybe not Drew, but, he's still one of the greatest defenders in the league. They have a bench. They have depth. And I think that that's all you need. And as good as Cleveland looks, I think that Cleveland just doesn't have it to beat that team. That team knows what to do in that scenario. So I think Boston will repeat. I don't think it'll be as easy. I don't think it'll go as few games as it did earlier, in those early rounds. But I just think I don't see a team in the East other than maybe Cleveland that can give them a problem, and maybe the Knicks. I like the Knicks if they're healthy to give them some issues, but nobody else. Milwaukee has no chance against them. They've already proven that they know strategy to beat Milwaukee. And then there's nobody else. Orlando, no. I don't know who else would be in there. Indiana, no. Miami, absolutely not. So I think they're poised to win number 2. And I don't think it's going to be that hard. I don't see nobody out west that can beat them, and I don't see anybody out east that can beat them. What's going on, Q? Sorry couldn't get on tonight. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix those technical issues and get you on. So moving on from Boston, this is another one that's not too spicy. Nikola Jokic wins his 4th MVP. What you guys think? Do you think the NBA will give him a 4th one in 5 seasons? What you think King Speech will
bloated because and this is the thing. I will since the MVP, you can go back to 1980, and that's going to be at this point 45 years, right? In an instant, there's only been 3 instances where a person that's not on the top 2 seed in a conference has won an MVP. One of those instances was Moses Malone in, I believe, 1982 or 3. And it turned out that the Sixers actually had the second best record, but the way they did the seeding, they were the 3rd seed. The other instance would be Michael Jordan in 1988. and you got to look at his numbers that season. Yeah, the Bulls were actually, I believe, the third. Well, no, the Bulls was the fourth seed. I know they were not favored to beat Cleveland that year, and they want to beat Cleveland in the playoffs. Yeah. But that was an instance where you didn't have a number. Usually, if you go back, about 80% of the MVPs were the first seed. A few were second seed, and then only those 3 occasions. The other occasion would be Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook was the 6th seed with the OKC back in 2017. And as we know, the storyline that year was KD left for the Warriors. Russell Westbrook became the first player to average a triple-double, something we never thought we would see again since Oscar Robertson in the 62 famous triple-double season. So you have to do something special. Now, I understand that Nikola Jokic is pushing a triple-double this year, but here's the issue. SGA. I mean, the numbers that SGA is putting up on a team that's superior in the standings is. I trust me. I know I know what the voters look for. Ever since '93, I've never gotten an MVP prediction wrong at the end of the season because I know what they're looking for. And basically, you're gonna have the best player performance on a top 2 seed. Now, here's the thing. If OKC fell off somehow, and that's not going to happen, but if OKC was the 4th seed, and you would just have in the East, you would just have Donovan Mitchell with his numbers versus Nikola Jokic and his numbers on a 5th or 4th seed, then Nikola Jokic would have a better candidacy. But because SGA has put up a career year on a number 1 seed, he's just going to win it. And it's also a little voter fatigue as well. Like, they'll be happy to give it to someone new. They want to, they believe that SGA in his situation is a great story. So the MVP is a storyline award, and he is definitely the favorite. Trust me, guys. If you bet Vegas, bet SGA. Put money on SGA right now.
Okay, before I let my man Big Nige go, I just want to read Jokic's numbers for this season so far. In 33 games, he's averaging 31.2 points per game. I think that's second in the league. 13.2 rebounds, 9.8 assists, basically 10 assists, shooting 55% on the floor. From 3, he's 47.1%, free throw 80%. So he's got a 55, 47, 80 split. I mean, they're not winning like they were, but those numbers are crazy.
They are. They're outstanding.
Big Nige, what you think? Is Jokic going to win number 4?
Nah, man. I'm rolling with SGA on this one as well. I mean, King's speech pretty much outlined it perfectly. I mean, they are the number 1 seed, and this is another chance for the NBA to get it right, man, because we talk about all the times about the small market team not getting pushed, the Thunder having a great season, on top of SGA's amazing play, and he's just not getting the conversation. He's not in the conversation like he's supposed to be. Like, everybody is just saying Jokic, which he's phenomenal. He's definitely in the conversation, but they're not winning as many games. They don't look as good as the Thunder. And when you talk about you have to be the guy on your team, and your team has to win, point blank, period. You can't be a bottom seed. I mean, they're the 4th seed right now, but they're pretty comfortable in that fourth spot. But you got a guy who's playing just as good. You could argue he's playing just as good. Maybe you say Jokic is playing slightly better. Cool. But then look at the standings. You can say SGA's play is translating to more wins, right? And so, as great as Jokic is, he's going to have to take a back seat this year. It's SGA's unless he falls off a cliff.
I just can't. I'm saying that's goated because, I mean, look at those numbers. Like, if he continues this, that's insane for a center, number 1. He's improved from last season. Yes, they're not winning like they were, but I mean, it's
two
hard.
things.
It's
hard. 2 things. I'm sorry, I don't know what stuff you're doing.
So so do you not champion those type of numbers. Like if you're improving and you improved,
Doesn't
I'm not
matter.
gonna say they lost the
You're not winning. That's the issue.
Nuggets
Is you're
didn't
not
lose
winning.
That's the issue. They're gonna look at it. They're gonna look at it. It's two things. It's voter fatigue, right? We voted them 3 times, and then there's triple-double fatigue. This is not fresh anymore. Like, unfortunately, you know what's crazy? The teammate that has saved their season pretty much, like without him, they wouldn't even be the 4th seed. Is the guy that is the reason why we have triple-double fatigue? Russell Westbrook. So he's done because Russell Westbrook the year before going to the Lakers went 22, 12, and 12. That was amazing. Like round up, it was 22, 12, and 12. So it's like we kind of seen it, and then I think they realized that the numbers are inflated. So they're gonna go to they're just gonna go to the winning. Listen, the Nuggets are playing right now, and Jokic is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. But it's gonna be a little bit of voters fatigue, and these numbers, like, I mean, God, listen, everybody's averaging 30. I'm not saying everybody's averaging 30, but like averaging 30, averaging the rebounding numbers, the assist numbers, you just all put it all together in one player. And like I said, he would have to. Let's put it this way. Let's say if they did get to the top 3 seed, now you're going to have a very interesting vote. So the win totals really matter for MVP. Like I said, you've only had 3 occasions in the past 45 years where a team that was not a top 2 seed, what team was not a top 2 seed, got the MVP. So that's just the way it goes. So, like I said, whatever the odds are, I think the odds you might make a little money putting on SGA. Go put it because it's almost a lot. It's almost a lot. Make you some money. I don't really gamble like that.
Nah, me either. But
yeah, but I
still think
sure things I like. I might load up 100 on one of these sites just to just get a little.
That's way too much
dinner money. Get some dinner money because it's just
But I'm going goated. But I mean, I agree somewhat with you guys. If SGA continues what he's doing and they unanimously get that number 1 spot,
I'm sorry that. If there's one play I love to watch, is Jokic. That pass he just made from the baseline out to 3 is just sick.
Oh, they playing already?
Yeah, they're playing Dallas right now. In Dallas.
We're gonna have to speed this up a little bit.
yeah, got you.
Yeah, goated for Jokic. Houston Rockets will flame out in the first round. I say goated.
I say bloated. I believe in Houston. Houston's another team that did it the right way. I like Amen Thompson step up. I mean, look, let me tell you something. Reed Shepard, listen to that. He was the 3rd pick in the NBA draft this year. They're sending him to the G League just to get reps. That's how stacked they are in the backcourt. Jalen Green is for real. I'm not the biggest Fred VanVleet fan, but he's an adequate point guard. Sengun is taking a step up. Like I said, Amen Thompson in his 2nd year actually showing he's worthy of his top 4 pick status. They have the tools. And right now, what the 2-7 seed? Who would be the 7 seed? Well, let's say the Lakers. They would own the Lakers. I know the league would do whatever they can, give them all the free throws, but basketball wise, they're not losing the first round. They're not. I mean, unless you see a Dallas fall in there. No, that is interesting because there's some good teams on that 7 seed line, right? There's some good teams in us. Let's put it this way: what if Phoenix got this 7 seed? Phoenix is a terrible team. I'm not. They're just a terrible team. Go ahead.
I was saying no. If it was Phoenix, I think Houston could beat Phoenix. I just don't think they can beat Anthony Davis. They have nothing to stop AD.
Who can stop Sengun though? I mean, I think that would be a wash. Like Sengun is that guy, and now you got Jalen Green. That's the Lakers' Achilles heel right now. Like you saw what happened last night with the Spurs. Young athletic teams are now figuring out just spread these guys out and make them guard you on the perimeter. And the Lakers just don't have enough fleet-footed. They don't have they tried to get one with the DFS trade, but they don't have a fleet-footed perimeter stopper. And everything has to, depend on Anthony Davis stopping guys from just dancing to the basket. And it's just too much. So
okay. Well, we got One bloated. We got to go to what's going on, Big Nige. What you think?
I think this really depends who they match up with in that 7th seed because you, like you said, you got potentially Dallas could fall, the Clippers could be in that spot, the Lakers, Timberwolves could be in that spot. So in those pieces, I mean, especially when you got other teams like the Kings and Suns and all that, I mean, I think Houston could beat most of those teams, but obviously you don't want to see Dallas. If I was them, I wouldn't want to see the Lakers. I mean, yes, defensively, the Lakers aren't the greatest, and Houston is definitely a better defensive team. But when it comes down to scoring and their lack of, perimeter shooting, I think that's what's going to hurt them because you're not going to beat the Lakers if you can't shoot. And I'm not saying the Rockets aren't going to be able to shoot, but can they do it when the pressure is the brightest? These are young guys you have to rely on. Jalen Green, Sengun. We've seen Dylan Brooks fold under pressure too, and that was against the Lakers. So I can't just suddenly put them in a spot above a team, even though Lakers aren't the greatest. They're experienced. They know what to do. They know who to count on in that moment. So to me, I don't think they want to see Dallas or the Lakers. Any of those other teams, you got me. They got home court. They're improved. And those other teams don't have the experience like Dallas and like the Lakers do. So if they avoid them two, you got me. They will not flame out. But if they get Dallas or LA, I'm not picking Houston to beat them. Not in a 7-game series.
So you really don't have a go to the bloated. It's situational for you.
It really depends who they play. Right now, as you say, currently constructed, it would have to be goated because they would flame out because I wouldn't pick them to beat the Lakers.
Okay. So next one is, unfortunately, this one can't be true. So, but I'm gonna just read it. Jared McCain is NBA's Rookie of the Year. Looked like it until he went down and he's out for the season. But so that's obviously bloated. But either way, Stephen Castle was gonna win it. So we'll move on from there. Number 6, this is James Harden's last great season. What you think, Big Nige? This is it for James Harden.
Last great season? I don't think so. I think he could definitely replicate most of what he's doing if he were to play another season. I mean, he has the same kind of structure in this Clippers offense. I mean, he gets to pat the rock. Yeah, I mean, he can look to score, but he's not pass first. But he's comfortable in this role. No Paul George. You have a kind of a shoot first guy in Norman Powell there, so he's not patting the rock. He's looking to shoot it as soon as he touches it. With Kawhi in and out of the lineup, there's really nobody to take the ball out of his hands on a consistent basis. So, unless he were to move off the ball again, then I would say yes, this is probably his last season at being this version of James Harden. But since I don't see anything stopping him from having the ball in his hands on a consistent basis, no, I think he can definitely do this again next season. Maybe not as consistently because he's getting a little older, but no, I can see Harden doing similar numbers next season.
So you think it's bloated?
Yeah, I think it's bloated.
Okay, how about yourself, King Speech?
I think it's bloated because I see a little bit of a reinvention of James Harden. He's becoming more of the playmaker. It's not about numbers at this point. I know, listen, he's not going to win MVP again. I doubt he'll win a scoring title again. But he's reinvented himself, running the offense there. And he's an elite playmaker. He's an elite offensive playmaker. He's smarter than people give him credit for. And I've always been a Harden fan. And those who are critics of him, I understand. I mean, the NBA is not giving him 13 free throws a game anymore. I mean, that's it's a new role, and I actually kind of like it. I think again, two guys kind of reinvented themselves, Russell Westbrook and James Harden, and they've actually passed it on to a new generation of role players. Like guys like Norman Powell are taking a big step up. So I think the greatness in Harden is watching his impact on his teammates. Watching him actually make his teammates better. I know that they give that label to a lot of players. Well, at this point, Harden is actually doing that. So reinventing himself there. Who knows where they're gonna go with the roster, with Kawhi and all of that. If Kawhi can give you full seasons anymore. But I think he's actually. So if you're asking me, will he get put up all-star numbers again? Probably not. but I think he's actually great just based on his reinvention. He doesn't have to score 30 a night anymore. So that'll extend his career.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. Yeah, I mean he's reinvented himself, and this version of James Harden, I think, can play a couple more seasons because he's not asked to do what he did in Houston. So I think that he can do that. He doesn't have to be the number one scorer. He doesn't have to do none of those things. He just, he's a facilitator, a playmaker, and he's got some teammates that can, benefit from what he can do. So, yeah, I agree with you guys on that one. So that is bloated from me too. Another quick one: OKC Thunder won't win the championship. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I guess they won't win. So goated because I have the Celtics winning it as of right now.
King Speech, you think OKC can win the championship?
I think you might have.
Sorry about that. I'm here. Can they win the championship? I think they need to develop a second scorer, a consistent second scorer. And the question is that guy Chet? I don't see them getting anybody else. Again, they're SGA and a lot of good pieces. Defensive, everybody plays defense on that team. Everybody knows their role, but when it comes down to the playoffs, you're going to need to have the best two guns on the court. That's kind of how almost every championship has been won in the past 40 years. Save for the Dallas Mavericks, but even they had guys step up in to become that second gun. And they played a very flawed Heat team in the finals to get there. So I believe they can get through the West. I believe they can get through the West, but they're gonna have a lot of competition. There's gonna be a lot of stiff competition all around. I mean, again, I know a lot of. I'm a big critic of the casual and today's NBA fan because they only look at the dynamic duos as far when they they look at the first two players and they think that's what makes a team. Well, no, you have to have great role players around that as well. But if SGA is getting 30, I'll just put it this way: if SGA is getting 32, and no one else is really getting you a consistent 15, OKC is going to struggle to win that champion, despite all their greatness. They're going to need a guy that can at least get you 20 a night. Like I said, is that Chet? Will Chet actually stay healthy through a playoff run? And that's a big question there. So that's what I Chet.
You don't believe in Jalen Williams? He's giving you 20 a game.
Can I get that same 20 in the playoffs? I'm not sure. And again, yeah, he's a guy that, again, one of these kind of no-name second guys, but am I going to get that in the playoffs? So, is that going to be enough when you go against the Dallas with a healthy Luka and Kyrie and their role players? Is that going to be enough in a potential conference finals with Denver or even Memphis? So, listen, they can get through the West, but then they're going to play whatever dynamic duo comes out of the East, and the East got some stacked dynamic duo. So between the Jalen and Jason Tatum and all the rest of the guys in Boston, between let's see if the Knicks got there, if Cleveland got there. Listen, it's possible, but I just don't see it until you give me somebody really, really consistent.
Okay.
I agree for the most part. Number 4, Giannis will leave the Bucks. Go to the bloated.
Bloated. I don't think he leaves. Maybe they have another. Maybe you say Dame's. You could say maybe Dame's done in 3 years at whatever level he's playing right now. 3 years. Giannis is, what is he, almost 30 now? Or close to, he just turned 30. So, his play style doesn't usually transition for long into your 30s level of career. So, we're talking maybe 4 or 5 more years of maybe this version of Giannis or maybe a watered down version of what we're seeing. Where else is he going to go when he's 35? Is it in Giannis's nature to ring chase? I don't think so. I think he prefers to stay in Milwaukee. Yeah, he could use some help in terms of if somebody like Dame kind of falls off a cliff, and Middleton's not getting any younger, and Brooke Lopez ain't getting any younger. So I mean, there are some things that you could point to say maybe Giannis could leave, but in terms of his character, I just don't see him leaving. I just kind of see him being like a Dirk Nowitzki, kind of like just sink with the ship, ride off into the sunset in Milwaukee. So for those reasons, I don't think he leaves. So I say bloated.
How about you, King Speech? Will Giannis be a Buck in the near future?
Oh, so basically for the foreseeable future. I say so is the goated whether he's staying or whether he's leaving?
Goated would be him leaving.
So I say goated. And I don't see it happening right away, but I do see him, let's say if he doesn't get back to that mountaintop in the next 2 years, really pushing to get out of there. And I mean, it could be this year. It could be this year. I don't think the Dame experiment is working. I think I've always this might be a hot take for me. I've always felt Dame was overrated. I felt he's an undersized 2 guard. Like he's not a great point guard. He's not a great. I watched at the end of the games and end of close games, and I just don't see the execution. And you want to tell me that that's Giannis's fault? Well, he did that with Drew Holiday. They actually won a championship, a real championship. 50 in the closeout game. I'm the big Giannis fan. I was a Giannis fan when he was a string being 6'8" kid as a rookie. I just saw a prototype player, and the fact that he grew to 7 feet and became this dominant force. I actually disagree. I think he'll have another about 5, 6, 7 years because he's actually a little bit more skilled than people give him credit for. Just amazing talent. Does he have a jump shot? No. You don't need it. You don't really need it when you have a wide open lane like that. Yeah, it'll be time when he probably have to reinvent himself in his mid to late 30s. But if they don't really, I guess the core is getting a little old. The Dame thing that did not go as smooth. The defense, they're gonna have to retool that defense somehow. You're gonna have to get a new center soon. Will he play center and then go smaller? When Brooke Lopez goes into the sunset. A lot of question marks. What do they have in terms of draft capital to even draft young talent around him? And I might see him saying, you know what, let me push to a bigger market while I still have some prime years left. And that's why they Goated did. He will leave at some point.
And just to be quick, Giannis is leaving. Okay, so we're going to number 3. What is it? This one, I'm pretty sure we all going to agree. Steph Curry will win his 5th NBA ring. Bloated.
No chance.
Bloated. Unless he leaves. Unless he leaves. But I don't see him. It would help his legacy to stay there rather than win a 5th ring. So
yeah,
I say bloated.
I agree. He ain't going nowhere. This is an interesting one. LaMelo Ball will lead NBA in scoring this season.
Bloated. Like, will he play enough games to even qualify? That's the problem.
Yeah, right now he doesn't qualify.
Even if he did just go out for 40, I see him twisting his ankle like in game 40 and being out for 20-something years.
Yeah, I don't think he qualifies. So I think he's already disqualified from the scoring title.
This year, right? Yeah, this guy's always hurt. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's bloated. Yeah. And finally, this is one I spoke about on this channel. I think it could be true, but LeBron James will retire after this season. Goated or bloated?
Bloated.
Can I say bloated? Can I say bloated?
You
know what? Listen, I mean, I know you got some LeBron James guys that watch. LeBron at this point is about narcissism. He's about getting praise. And so if he finds a reason to come back and these numbers and there's something. I don't think he's bored in the situation with the Lakers. So, like, let's put it this way: if the Lakers flame out. And now when I say flame out, I mean not even make like losing a play-in. I can see him saying, you know what, I'm done with this. Like it's not gonna go anywhere, blah blah blah. There's no more. I mean, what are you gonna go for 45,000 points, 15. I mean, but then again, then there's also Bryce coming in a couple of years. Bryce is in
he ain't staying.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You know what I always said? I said, why don't you sit out and come back? Sit out a year and then come back with a team of your choosing when you're a free agent. Jordan did it, right? You want to do everything else Jordan did, 10 years, 10 more seasons after that. No, here's one, and again, I'm going to just say, I know you guys want to get out of here, but I always said this, one thing about LeBron fans, you got to understand, Jordan came back after 3 years off with no training camp, with no official training camp, because he did not officially work out with NBA teams because of the 9/11 situation. He didn't want to step on that. So September is when, players get in the training camp. So he really had to come in, and that's hard to do. So for him to play that well, after 3 years off, when you stop playing basketball, it's one thing I want. One thing I've been saying this to Knicks fans and talk about Thibodeau pushes the team players too much. There's no way, and it's Barkley and Shaq, who are Hall of Famers and who had issues with their conditioning, said this. There's no other way to get in shape for playing basketball other than playing basketball. Mm-hmm. So if I want to see how good LeBron would be after a year sitting on the sidelines, just to come back and play with his other son, Bryce, who they say might be a better player than Bronny. Let's see if he grows another couple of inches between here and there. Because last I checked, he was listed at about 6'3.5", 6'4", and he really doesn't have guard foot speed. But if he wants to play with his son and go, let's say, hey, let me come back with Cleveland. No, Cleveland better stay clear of that. They have a good thing going. But if he want to come back with another market and just say, you know what, let me go play with my son here. I played with both sons. Who else could say that? That would be, but yeah. It would depend on what happens. If there's no reason for him to soak up praise from ESPN, if there's no other angle they can push, Clutch Sports can push, he might just say, you know what, let me sit one out. I don't want to be on a bad Laker team again next year. This is kind of finally hurting my legacy. I can't push the blame out on anybody. JJ Redick is the coach I wanted. I can't blame AD. He's playing great. What am I gonna do? Blame Austin Reeves? So if they flamed out, maybe if they got knocked out in the first round by a good team, he'll say, But at this point, I don't see. They don't have their draft pick. They have no cap space. That will be a real. That will be a real sports talk only. That would be we got to set up that debate, sports talk only. But that would be a real reason why he would just say, you know what, let me sit one out and then come back maybe later, or just right out to the sunset. I've done everything. And listen, salute for the 22 years. His longevity is amazing. But yeah. So I don't know. It depends on what happens. He could just come back into this at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think if I was him, depending on, it's kind of like what you're saying, it depends on how the season ends. If they're like right there, if they get to the conference finals and just get the 5-6 games, then I think, I'm not sure that would happen. But if he did, I think he's going to say, let's try it one more time. I got that close. Let me try it one more year. If they losing the play-in or first round, I just think this is a perfect way for him to end it, because he flag bearer at the Olympics, one of the oldest players to ever play on an Olympic basketball team, won the MVP. You can, some people want to debate that, but they gave it to him. He got the photo op of playing with his son.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty much done. These are all bucket list things that he's been able to check off. And I think that, would you risk another season just to maybe have a steeper fall off for next year? I wouldn't. I would end it on a high note. I mean, him being 40 years old and playing the way he's playing, that's I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, you have to, admire that. So coming back from age 41 and bricking that dunk he did the other night, and just not even able to get downhill like he used to. I don't think he wants to risk that. I think he wants to end on a high note. And I think, like he said, he might Tim Duncan it. I think he probably will Tim Duncan it because it's going to keep the sports world talking, because they're like, okay, LeBron, he's going to stay in the media good light if he leaves on a note like this. He doesn't try to push himself to something that's just not doable right now. If he goes to another team, stacks a deck with the Warriors or something like that, that's people aren't going to praise that. So I think he's going to do it the right way. He's going to go out on his laurels. And I think this, to me, if it ends early for them, I think he's gone. So
I'll just say this. I think LeBron will play at least one more season. I think he's going to get a farewell tour. I think the NBA, if we're just talking about marketing, he's still the biggest name in the sport, still going to be talked about even when he retires. But especially, they would drop the ball if they didn't at least entertain the idea of a farewell tour. Love him or hate him, people talk about him all the time. People are going to continue to talk about LeBron all the time. It's just his namesake. You get a lot of buzz. If you say LeBron's terrible, probably going to get 1,000 views plus. You know what I mean? So that's just the nature of business.
We all do it. We all do it. So
I gotta go. I gotta go and say LeBron's terrible.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? There you go,
man. Those views will roll in, but you'll get some downvotes. Definitely, you'll get some downvotes.
Look, any feedback is still good feedback, but yeah, I think he's going to play at least one more year. Is he going to play with Bryce? Maybe. I kind of doubt it. I don't think the lore is there. I mean, storyline maybe, but I mean, nah. I think he's got one more year. I think they're going to announce it prior to, so everybody can kind of get the cameras out. Everybody can plan to be in attendance first.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Season.
Do it like Kobe did, right?
And then just let him ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. Well, opinion stated said kind of does make sense. If he does his farewell tour, expectations are off the, they're off the table, because this is just kind of a media thing. This is just basically showing one of the greatest, touting him out like that. So if they were able to somehow win, it would be an even bigger event, because he's doing something that not even the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan, could do in his farewell tour, or even Kobe. So, I could see that happening. So like I said, it just depends. If they do well to end the season, I think he may go out, just because he said, hey, I'm 40 years old. I was able to carry my team to the conference finals. We didn't quite get it done, but I got my son there. I'm fading out. I'm going out. So
yeah, it's not happening. This team is not beating two good young teams. They don't have enough youth. I'm gonna just one question to ask. If he did a farewell tour next year and they finish about 25 and 57 or like 20 in the 20s, would that hurt his legacy, or would that just be expected? Because I mean, here's the difference. And I know Kobe and my MJ's farewell, but they didn't have an Anthony Davis, a 33-year-old Anthony Davis right next to him. And on top of that, they both were able to pass the torch. Like Kobe passed his torch up to the young guys like Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. And he passed it up. He put Randall, so they were able to at least make some incremental steps before they got LeBron James. And then, but there's nobody to pass it off to unless you're talking about Austin Reeves. And nobody's going to build a team around Austin Reeves. Nice third or fourth piece, but not,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see no way if Anthony Davis is on that team, there's no way they're just winning 25 games. I think AD can win some games for himself, as long as he stays healthy and he stays, the player he is right now. I don't see any way they drop off that hard. But yeah, and like you said, I don't think anything's going to hurt LeBron's legacy now. I think he's pretty much built, what he is. I think these last couple of years don't even nobody. I mean, it only adds for the most part to his legacy. I did do a video saying if he played longer, it would hurt, but I think he's on his way out. So I think that he'll be fine. I don't think his legacy's going to be hurt at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think his legacy is where it's at. Whether you have him 1 or you have him 12, it's not moving the needle from what he does this season or next season.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna get out of here because I'm trying to watch some of this Denver game. Appreciate you, King Speech, for joining us. Opinion stated. Appreciate you staying in the chat with us. We're gonna get you on this next time, and hopefully we'll work out the technical kinks, and you'll be able to join us. Sports talk, what's going on? Always someone to change the subject, but we appreciate you stopping by. But we thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys, if you can help us, like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to continuously trying to grow. Like I said, we're going to these to this podcast expo this weekend, and hopefully we can learn some good information to bring it back and be even better going forward in 2025. So with that said, any parting words, Big Nige?
Nope. Everybody just stay safe. I know a lot of sickness is going around right now. I know I'm kind of congested right now, so just get well if you are feeling under the weather like me, and push through the rest of the week. Y'all got it.
Get you some orange juice and some sleep. And King Speech, anything you want to say? I know you got some new videos up. If you want to plug those.
Yeah, I'm just getting my little random rants out. If you guys want to listen to it, I do drop some gems. I do ramble on, but there's some gems in there. You guys have a safe trip. Right now I'm gonna be flipping between watching my Dookies and Cooper Flag and watching my boy Nikola Jokic, man. Two white boys that really hoop it up, man.
Turn that Duke off. We don't.
Well, we're up by 20. We're up by 20 on Miami, so I might turn it down.
Yeah, we there's no Duke talk around here. Anyway, we appreciate you, and yeah, we will. I'm gonna share the videos on the community tag so it can get pushed a little bit more. So, and I'll also get with you about putting both videos together. So I'll help you out.
All right, no problem, man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, and this is GOATcast for January 14th, and we'll see you guys next week.